in Nick's case, ramping up every day. So, they did work every day here in Milwaukee, all 3 days, and they keep moving in the right direction. So we're excited for them both to return at some point. But obviously, they're totally different cases, and they'll be ready when they're ready.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Brian Lewis with the New York Post.
Hey, Steve. The fact that you've been in Milwaukee as long as you've been there now, and is this a little bit of a preview in playoffs, in just that the playoff basketball is largely about adjustments and then adjustments to the adjustments? You get an opportunity to see a team and do that. And second question following up on that is, when you get into the playoffs, if you were to meet this team again, would any of those things that you take from these 2 games be applicable, considering how important James is to what you do?
Yeah, I do think it is much more playoff-like to play a team twice in a row. You get an opportunity to, like you said, adjust to their adjustments, to have a little bit more of a chess match. It's inevitable that instead of just focusing on yourself, there is an opportunity to focus at least a little bit, if not a lot, on how you match up and how you can combat the other team. So I think that is true. I think that obviously James changes a lot of things for us, but that doesn't mean that this is inconsequential in the big picture, that we can't learn and grow from this, not just for ourselves, but also for this matchup. So I think both teams will take a lot from this little mini series and continue to grow and hopefully get better. But I think you're right that this is very playoff-like in its feel. You feel, in a sense, especially this late in the season, with us being, up near the top of the East together, that it does have that playoff vibe.
Back to Michael Grady with Yes Network.
With Mike James getting a second 10-day coach, just what do you like about and what's impressed you most about what he's been able to give the team?
Talented player, good athlete, has speed and can get in the paint and cause problems. He's a talented scorer as well, but just trying to find a role for him that's clear and simple and comfortable. Joining a new team and having so little time with us, that can be really difficult. So in one respect, he's done a great job. In another respect, there's some inconsistency there, I think, just because of the parameters of this experience. He's come here after a month of not playing and joined a new team right in the middle of things. So that takes time. So you take your hat off to him, and at the same time you say, there's a long way to go before we can really define and say what, the role will be and how he'll, adapt and attack it.
Back to Christian Winfield with the Daily News.
Hey, Coach. Spencer posted a video on Instagram today basically asking what the fastest return from an ACL has been. I think it's been 17 weeks for him. Is it realistic for him to return to the team, then ramp up and then test the ACL and then be able to play real minutes in a competitive playoff series for a championship at this point? Or is it possible? Is it wishful thinking, do you think? Or is that something that could really happen this season?
I don't think so. I mean, we haven't seen him since the turn of the year almost. So it's very difficult to one, expose him to, full NBA playoff basketball after the type of injuries he's had. So we want to look out for his long-term health first and foremost. And then second of all, adapting back to a team environment, that seems, all those things together make it seem like it's probably very unlikely, but who knows? Stranger things have happened.
Steve Lichtenstein with WFAN.
Hi, Steve. We hear a lot about the performance team's influence on the overall program. So I was curious, with nutrition falling under the sports science umbrella, how have they been able to manage getting Kyrie during this month of Ramadan?
I think they make sure he's well fueled and working with the parameters that are acceptable for him, and so they're definitely providing him support. I don't know how much more I can comment. They provide him with food at every opportunity and make sure that they're in lockstep with what he needs and where he's deficient and how they can help support him.
Last question, Matt Brooks with Nets Daily.
Hey, Steve. Joe said this morning that you guys would be making slight adjustments to how you guys were going to cover Giannis. I was just curious if that was going to be like the primary coverage with how close you guys would be playing him, especially from like mid-range and stuff like that. Or is that really more of like the guys around him, with digs and stuff like that?
I mean, I think a bit of both. I mean, I'm not sure how much will change. To be honest, we have multiple looks, in our pocket and see how the game goes. But we're not gonna overreact to his performance. We have been a little better. Could we have put a little more pressure on him for sure. At the same time, the shot to tie where you weren't very good in a lot of areas. So I think that's the one that jumps out because he had an incredible performance, but we see a lot of other areas that we could have improved on as well. So it's not just all about how we cover Giannis.
Thanks, Coach. We appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you, guys.